Does it make sense to you? Or does it resonate with you? Do you see what I'm talking about when I say that we are a culture, or we live in a culture made up of people who largely live in their heads, meaning more often than not, the center of their being is in their thoughts. Now, if you've never had an experience in which you came out of your thoughts, and that's where you've dwelled your entire life, then maybe you have no idea what I'm talking about, because you weren't even aware that other things were possible. But I think that most of us have certainly had those experiences where something so immediately inspiring and worthy, or not even necessarily positively inspiring, but something so just immediately demanding of our attention that thoughts seem to cease, and whatever's going on in the present moment takes precedent. You know, with social media and the advent of things like I'm recording this video with, if you kind of just go on living the unexamined life, you can just kind of be floating on this stream of consciousness that never seems to shut up. There are enough distractions to sort of keep you on that superficial level of intellectual titillation for your whole life. You know, back before all this shit existed, you know, like social media, iPhones, etc., etc., I feel like there would have been a lot more space to be bored in. Now, that may not sound inspiring to you, but boredom can be very important because it leaves space in your life, meaning that whatever habits or routines or ways in which you've looked at things have a chance to let their guard down and something new may be reached. That's the importance of silence, as I've talked about in other videos, but it really is akin to this idea of if all you do is think, then you can only be having thoughts about thoughts, and therefore you're not really thinking very efficiently. You're not employing your mind in the most effective way it can be. Humans have this very powerful tool called intellectual thought, but many of us fall victim to the tool. How well are we cultivating it and putting it into practice? You know, do things that are worth writing about, that are worth talking about, that give you productive thoughts, that in turn lead to more actions that are worthy of being communicated. But the key point is that when you're in that action, when you're doing that, when you're living life and not just kind of thinking about it from a removed standpoint, it's sort of like a meditative experience, because you're just doing it. And oftentimes we do things best when we just get out of our own way and just let things happen. And then that can lead to points where, alright, we've done a whole lot, now it's time to rest, sit back, reflect, how can we move forward and act in a slightly more effective way the next day. And where a lot of these thoughts are coming from is from this book I've been reading called How Yoga Works. And, so much of it is dealing with just our thoughts. Talking about you can literally change the world just by being aware of what's going on up here. Is the world in your head, or is your head in the world? And the most obvious answer to that question is just yes, it is both. So meaning that the world, as I see it, is not only an objective experience, meaning that other people have the potential to see the things I'm seeing and experience the things I'm seeing, but I am experiencing this objective reality from a subjective view. So, in that sense, as Nas said in his song, the world is yours, meaning you choose how you look at the world. You are the creator of your world. And if these ideas sound kind of novel to you, they may at the same time be kind of unconvincing, because it's like, okay, well, sure, I can choose to think about things a certain way, but ultimately it doesn't matter what I choose, because things are as they are. But are they? Take, for example, the worst experience you've had in your life. I'll do this little exercise right now. For me, it would probably be about a year ago. I had a near-death experience where I thought I was having a heart attack, and it was like the only time, or the first time in my life, where I thought there was a good chance that I wouldn't live to see the next day. And this didn't stop that night. I left the hospital that night hoping that it was just a bad day, but what this turned into was months and months of chronic illness. Now, many people who've been through similar experiences fall victim to those experiences, and they never move past them. They never grow, because they haven't learned how to look at every difficult opportunity as just that, an opportunity to grow. So, the worst experience in your life, how is it also the best experience you've ever had? I know that experience I had, where I thought I was going to die, that marked the beginning of a half a year's worth of chronic illness, I know because of that now, I am not only more healthy, more health conscious than I was a year ago, but also, now that I know what it's like to deal with pain and chaos and uncertainty that is so implicit in our experience, that ultimately I've become more of a grown, mature human being. So, how do you look at the world, and how is it serving you? That's basically what it comes down to. And this may be oversimplifying it, but it resonates with me. The whole world, every day you have a choice between A or B. Meaning, whatever it is in the present moment in which you have the capacity to act, what are you going to do? Are you going to think about it in the way that is life-affirming, that serves you, that works towards your increased vitality and aliveness? Or are you going to do the opposite, which is persistent stagnation of staying where you've always been, and ultimately just slowly, by staying the same, going down and regressing? For me, all the studying of yoga that I've done, it's about orienting yourself away from the evil, quotation marks, and instead orientating yourself towards all that is alive. So I suppose I'll leave it at that, but that idea, if you're open-minded enough to it, is one way of looking at what God is. And so for all of you super intellectual people who pride yourself on being smart atheists, God can be a very real thing depending on how you choose to look at it. For me, well, say you took the perspective of the moon and you just saw this blue, green, white, swirly globe floating in space. What would you see? Would you see death, or would you see life? Perpetual happening, always, never stopping. You'd see perpetual life, always stopping. You don't see from that perspective the little petty losses that we go through every day. The net sum is what is, and what is live, and which never dies. So you have a choice to participate in it, and rejoice in being part of what is alive, which is so much bigger than you. Or you can sit back and you're more reluctant, unconvinced mindset that has probably never really gotten you anywhere very interesting. So it's getting dark out now, so it's time to call it a day. What do you think of the thoughts I expressed in this video? Let me know. I'd love to hear what you think. Peace, everyone.